Here we have a first-time U.S. election watcher. Tara Varma is senior fellow at the Brookings Institution think tank, born in Paris, of Indian origin. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
This is your first U.S. presidential election. What do you think of the spectacle, even of Election Day? You know, in France, for instance, we're not allowed to talk about polls until all the votes have been counted, until 8 p.m. on the Sunday evening when we hold our election. Here, you can hand out leaflets for your candidate up to 50 meters from a polling station. Your thoughts when you look at how Americans pick their president?
I think it's fascinating. So what I've been seeing is candidates can actually campaign for themselves, their running mates as well. People can actually register until the day of the electoral vote, which I didn't know.
In some states.
In some states, absolutely. But it also means that it provides the opportunity for people to mobilize as late as possible. And I think that is what is key here, what the turnout will be like. We know that last time around in 2020, it was the highest turnout in the history of the U.S. Political in U.S. political history. I think this time around it may even be a bit larger than that. We know that we have millions of mail-in ballots which have already come in, and people are really anxiously waiting for the results, not just in the U.S. but in the rest of the world too, as you know.
All right, it's going to be whatever happens in election first. We're either going to see, for the first time in over a century, a U.S. president voted out of office and coming back to office. That would be if Donald Trump wins. In the case of Kamala Harris, first woman, first African-American woman, first woman of South Asian origin as well. How do Indians feel about this election?
So I think there are 1.5 billion people in India, so I'm not going to presume to talk for all of them, but I think we're seeing people who really support her, people who really don't, a lot of Indian Americans who support Donald Trump. I'm thinking about a lot of people in the Silicon Valley, but there are also a lot of people there supporting her.
Because in his first stint as president, we saw he held at one point even a joint rally in Texas with Narendra Modi at the time. Modi, Hindu nationalist leader, are they similar bedfellows?
I don't know that they are similar. I mean, I feel like, there is evidently some similarity, and we see them potentially as rising autocrats, willing to curtail really freedom of the press. But one thing was clear in the election in India earlier this year is that actually Narendra Modi got much less votes than he expected, than most pollsters expected, and he accepted the result. I am hopeful that Donald Trump will accept the results, however way it goes, either in favor or disfavor of him. But we can, I think, harbor doubts on that. He has repeatedly said that he would only accept the results if the election was free and fair, and he doesn't really define free and fair he doesn't provide much more details for it. And we've seen a lot of magnates, tycoons, people who support him on social media, who've basically been spreading quite a bit of fake news on the campaign itself. So I'm hopeful that the results, the election will ultimately be free and fair here too.
And the Indian diaspora, how is it split? Because Indians, of course, have such a prominent role. Some are CEOs in the Silicon Valley. But as you said, 1.5 billion people, and the diaspora is diverse as well.
Absolutely. And we see it actually in the two main political parties here. Inside the Republican Party, you have Bobby Jindal in Louisiana, Vivek Ramaswamy with the GOP, Nikki Haley, of course, who was a contender to the presidential election here, and Kamala Harris, who's the vice president and Democratic candidate to the election. Black American women of Indian origin. So we're seeing them, as you said, not only in the financial, economic and tech realm, but also taking more and more part in the political space in the U.S., which is, I think, a characteristic that not too many diasporas in the U.S. harbor. And I do think that's interesting. You see people being very engaged in the political life here. Let's see. I have no predictions.
One quick final question for you. Using your fresh eyes, U.S. institutions, as you said, with Donald Trump saying, I'll accept the result if, they're going to be tested. Do you think American institutions are weak or strong?
I think they're quite strong, especially with all the legal background that we're seeing now. A lot of legal preparations, potential contestations of elections, but really the sense that the checks and balances still work. Freedom of the press, I think, civil society, but also the legal realm. I think everyone is hopeful that the U.S. will pull through, however way it goes.
Tara Varma, so many thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Back to you, Mark Owen, in the studio in Paris.
François Picard, thank you.